It's a lovely day today, so whatever you've got to do, you got a lovely day to do it in, that's true. And I hope whatever you've got to do is something that can be done by two, for I'd really like to say...
Welcome to Ask Aunt Ann. It's a lovely day here, and I hope it's a lovely day where you are. I'm sure you are as happy as I am that spring has finally arrived. So for today's show, we will be skipping the April showers and go right to the flowers. My friend Eddie is back to talk to you about getting kids interested in gardening, and he'll stay long enough to sing for us. My neighbor Jimmy will be stopping by to show us a great use for old unwanted books. And I have a recipe for some yummy cookies using almond flour, so stay tuned. Let's get to that first letter. Well, actually, it's an email. And it's from Marie Sewell from Maiden Rock. Marie writes, Dear Aunt Ann, I just retired and will be caring for my 2 grandchildren this summer. I thought it would be fun to work on a garden together. Do you have any tips on what to plant? What a great idea, Marie. Gardening is a wonderful activity that everyone in the family will enjoy, especially children. It's a perfect way to spend time in the fresh air and sunshine. It's also a great teaching tool. It can instill a sense of responsibility and cooperation, not to mention that you will have a bounty of fresh, organic food to share with your whole family. And growing vegetables is the best way to get kids to eat them. That being said, it's important to choose easy fruits and vegetables to grow at first. So let's go into the kitchen where our gardening guru Eddie will give us some suggestions. Hi Eddie, I can't believe it's been a year since you last visited us.
Well, you know, Ann, time flies when you're in the garden.
I agree. Eddie, do you have some suggestions for Marie?
Of course. The key to getting your child excited about gardening is choosing produce that's relatively foolproof. I've planted many different types of fruits and vegetables with kids over the years, and I've found 7 items that are tried and true. Now, the first one is peas. Peas. They're so easy to grow. They can be started inside using organic compost, seeds, and homemade recycled newspaper pots, the kind we demonstrated last year.
That's right. And those instructions are on our website for my viewers.
Perfect. Starting those peas inside, it'll make for a fun activity in itself. Now, just remember that the seeds are poisonous, so don't let your child put them in their mouths. And make sure that you wash their hands after you've been handling them. Now, peas are a lot of fun to grow because you can grow them up a trellis, and they actually flower, which means that the kids can pick the flowers and bring them inside to enjoy on the dining room table. The best part about peas is that they will continue to grow all summer long, allowing for a few months of gardening fun with your children. Next are sunflowers. Sunflowers are fun to grow because they can grow up to 15 feet tall. The very size of these flowers will spark your child's imagination. Now, I don't know if you were aware, but they come in a variety of colors and sizes. There's even dwarf versions that you could grow in a small space garden or maybe a super sunny window. Now remember, sunflowers do need full sunlight, so make sure that you find that perfect spot. The best part is the sunflower seeds can be eaten, or you can leave them in the yard for the birds. Number 3 on our list of easy to grow vegetables and fruits is strawberries. Now, who doesn't love strawberries? Strawberries are perfect for children because harvesting them is like a treasure hunt, and your children will want to come out every day to the garden to peek underneath the leaves. Strawberries that you grow at home are actually sweeter than the ones you find at the grocery store too. Number 4 is cabbage. It's fun for children to grow for one simple reason. Some varieties will grow oversized heads reaching up to 50 pounds. That alone is plenty of reason to try growing cabbage with your children. Cabbages can grow to an incredible size in as little as 10 to 12 weeks too, so it makes the process even better. Next, we have potatoes. The very process of starting a potato seed is like a science experience, which alone will delight your children. Start by sitting your seed potato in daylight until eyes begin to form and leaves begin to sprout. And then you'll want to transplant your potato to a bucket, a clean trash can, a laundry basket, or your garden to allow them to grow.
A laundry basket? Well, that's a new idea. Can you give me instructions? I'd like to put those on my website for our viewers too.
Of course, Ann. It's really a fun way to grow potatoes. Number 6 on our list is something called walking stick kale. It's a really unique vegetable because at the end of its life cycle, you're left with a perfect walking stick. You simply strip the kale of its leaves, its branches, and its roots, and you sand it smooth. Now this plant can grow up to be 10 feet tall, and of course, the leaves are edible. Last but not least are radishes. Radishes are really fun to grow for children because they grow quickly and are so easy to care for that even the tiniest of tots can get in on the gardening fun. They're ready to harvest in as little as 25 days, and because of their short growing period and the size of the plant, they're the perfect plant for a container garden. Just remember, one radish seed will yield a single radish plant. So you want to plant enough to yield a healthy harvest.
Now, some of you may be wondering if kids will like the tart, spicy flavor of radishes. If yours don't, I suggest you try cooking them or roasting them.
That sounds really good, Ann. Do you maybe have a recipe?
I do. And it's simple too. Do you want to help me?
Oh, I'd love to, Ann. Let's get started.
These radishes are so pretty and so good for you, but I'm sure you already knew that, Eddie. They're loaded with vitamins and minerals, and they're really inexpensive to purchase if you don't grow your own. So let's start by cutting these beauties into quarters, like this.
That's easy, Ann. I'll finish these up. What else do you need?
Well, this recipe uses 2 cups of quartered radishes, 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 tablespoon lemon zest, 1 teaspoon chopped rosemary, and a little salt and pepper to taste. You can season radishes the same way you would season potatoes or other root veggies. So instead of rosemary, you may want to use chives, parsley, or thyme, whatever you have on hand.
I've got 2 cups, Ann. What else do we need?
Let's melt the butter in a medium saute pan. Now add the radishes and we'll toss to coat. You want to cook these for about 10 minutes until they're softened and a beautiful golden brown. Time will vary depending on their size.
So Ann, would it be best for a person to use salted or unsalted butter?
Well, Eddie, since we're actually adding our own salt to taste, it's best to use the unsalted butter. Now, don't those look beautiful? They actually look like bliss potatoes. Now remove them from the heat. Remove the rosemary sprig and add the lemon zest and rosemary leaves. Always add zest or juice at the end of cooking so you get the full flavor. The same goes for tender herbs. Now season with a little salt and freshly ground pepper and enjoy. This makes about 2 servings of only 122 calories each.
Can I taste one, Ann?
Of course.
Delicious. Can I have the recipe?
Of course, but better yet, I'll post it on Facebook and our website so our viewers can access it too.
Thanks, Ann. I always learn something new each time I visit.
You're welcome. Eddie, did you have time to prepare a song for us?
I did, and it's a perfect one for a show on flowers. A long, long time ago, on graduation day, you handed me your book. I signed this way: roses are red, my love, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, my love, but not as sweet as you. We dated through high school, and when the big day came, I wrote into your book next to my name: roses are red, my love, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, my love, but not as sweet as you. Then I went far away, and you found someone new. I read your letter, dear, and I wrote this to you: roses are red, my love, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, my love, good luck, may God bless you. Is that your little girl? She looks a lot like you. Someday a boy will write in her book too: roses are red, my love, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, my love, but not as sweet as you. Roses are red.
Thank you, Eddie. That was wonderful. Let's get to another letter. It deals with flowers, spelled F-L-O-U-R-S. Dear Aunt Anne, my sister is coming to visit soon and has recently been diagnosed with gluten sensitivity. She loves cookies, and I would love to surprise her with some that are gluten-free. Any ideas? Priscilla Palmer, Maribel. Priscilla, you are not the only one facing this question. There are more and more recipes out there that are gluten-free, and some of them are so complicated. I have found one that is very similar to a regular cookie recipe and uses almond flour. First, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Then, in a medium mixing bowl, add 2 cups of almond flour. Almond flour can now be found in most supermarkets and, of course, most health food stores. It isn't inexpensive, but it is worth the splurge. Now, mix in a 1/4 cup of softened coconut oil or unsalted butter, a 1/4 cup honey, try to get local honey, a 1/2 teaspoon almond extract, and a 1/4 teaspoon of fine sea salt. Stir until a thick, creamy batter forms. Now use a cookie scoop to drop batter by rounded tablespoons onto a parchment-lined baking sheet. Using your fingers or the bottom of a glass, press the dough to desired shape, leave round, or use a cookie cutter. If you use a cookie cutter, chill the batter in the fridge for 30 minutes. If you use a glass, place a piece of parchment or plastic over the cookie so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. I find a nice heavy freezer bag works really well. Now pop them into the oven for 8 minutes or until the edges turn golden brown. Let them cool on the pan for 10 minutes and then transfer to a wire rack until completely cool. While we're waiting for them to cool, let's make some frosting. Take 4 tablespoons of softened coconut oil or butter and add 4 tablespoons of honey, 1 teaspoon almond extract, and 1/4 teaspoon of that fine sea salt. If it starts to get too melty, just put it in the refrigerator to help it set up. Once the cookies are cool, frost them and let them set up in the fridge. These are best kept cool and served chilled or at room temperature. They are sweet and buttery, and no one would ever know that they're made without white flour. Our last letter is from Monica Thoreau in Clam Falls. She writes, "Dear Aunt Anne, I work for our local library and we hold a sale each year and always end up with books that for one reason or another aren't sellable. Do you have any ideas for recycling them?" Do I, Monica? Old, unusable books can be upcycled into all kinds of things. Go to the internet and search for uses for old books. You will be overwhelmed with all the amazing ideas. Here are just a few I found. They range from utilitarian to awe-inspiring. This is one I think would be perfect for using at the library. It's a planter. My friend and neighbor Jimmy helped me create it. Thanks so much for helping us out with this today, Jimmy.
I'm happy to help, Anne. This really is a fun project, and it is really pretty easy.
It is. First, you need to find 2 books with covers that complement each other and the room where the planter will be displayed. For instance, if it's your kitchen, look for a couple of cookbooks. I found these Reader's Digest condensed books. They usually have a paper dust jacket on them, but just look at these beautiful patterns and designs that the actual hardcover has. The swirls, stripes, and flowers would work nicely in just about any room in the house. You will also need a small container for your plants. A container such as a small plastic sour cream tub works perfectly for this project. The diameter of the top of the container will determine the size of the hole saw that you will need to use. Our container is 3.5 inches in diameter, so we will be using a 3.5-inch hole saw.
First, rub a layer of white glue against the outer edges of the pages. This will help keep the books from falling open. This should be done a day in advance so the books are dry before you drill your hole. You will be using 2 books, just off-center from one another, like this. On the top book, mark where you would like the hole for the planter to be. Next, clamp the book down onto a piece of scrap wood. If you can also clamp the book and wood down onto the table or workbench, that will help stabilize it even more. Now, with the appropriately sized hole saw, drill the hole. Do this very slowly so you don't rip or burn the book. You will need to stop sawing every 15 seconds or so to clear out the cut page remnants from the hole saw. Once the top book is done, use it as a template to mark the hole on the bottom book. Repeat the procedure to cut the hole in the bottom book, but be careful not to drill all the way through the bottom book. You can use your planting container to determine how deep to make the hole in the bottom book. Next, use hot glue to join the books together. Now you can place the container in the hole. The best plants for this container are succulents because they don't need much water and can live in small containers quite well.
If you decide to use succulents, you will need 2 to 3 small plants. Places like Home Depot sell them, and they are very inexpensive. Be sure to get the types that grow flat or they will topple out of the container. Start with the main succulent and separate it from the soil that it's packed in. Place it in the container and then repack the soil to keep it secure. A little water in the soil will help.
Once you get your plants where you want them, fill in any spaces you have around them. Next, cover the soil with moss. This is usually available where you purchased your succulents. It looks nice, helps support your plants, and covers the top of the container. About once a week, spray a little bit of water onto the roots with a spray bottle.
Succulents need very little water, but they do need a lot of sunlight, so make sure they're in a sunny location. Or put them outside on a deck or patio where they get plenty of sun and are protected from the rain. Isn't that just beautiful?
Yes, very beautiful.
Oh, Jimmy. Thank you for helping me out with this today.
You're welcome, Anne. We make a great team.
Yes, we do. Well, time has flown as it always does when you're with good friends. Let me share this poem with you before we say goodbye. It's called Flowers by Thomas Hood. I will not have the mad Clytie, whose head is turned by the sun. The tulip is a courtly queen, whom therefore I will shun. The cowslip is a country wench, the violet is a nun. But I will woo the dainty rose, the queen of everyone. The pea is but a wanton witch, in too much haste to wed, and clasps her ring on every hand, the wolf's bane I should dread. Nor will I dreary rosemary, that always mourns the dead, but I will woo the dainty rose, with her cheeks of tender red. The lily is all in white, like a saint, and so is no mate for me. And the daisy's cheek is tipped with blush, she is of such low degree. Jasmine is sweet, and has many loves, and the broom's betrothed to the bee. But I will plight with the dainty rose, for fairest of all is she. Thank you for watching and spending some of your day with us. I'm so proud to announce that for the second year in a row, our show has received an Excellence Award from the Midwest Video Fest. That's like winning a gold medal. I'd like to thank everyone who is a part of this show, from our guests to the people behind the scenes. And I'd especially like to thank you, our viewers. And of course, I'll be back next month with a show that you're sure to enjoy. So please stop by for a visit and keep those letters coming.
It's a lovely day today, so whatever you've got to do, you got a lovely day to do it in, that's true. And I hope whatever you've got to do is something that can be done by two, for I'd really like to stay. It's a lovely day today, and whatever you've got to do, I'd be so happy to be doing it with you. But if you've got something that must be done, and it can only be done by one, there is nothing more to say, except it's a lovely day for saying it's a lovely day. this moment I